bought a really cool and fun plastic smiley face chair just for the purpose of doing YouTube, and I realized too late you can't even fucking see it, so whatever. I have the hiccups today, if you can't already tell, which is why today is the perfect time to do a story time video.
Obviously.
Daffy's here. Come wreck my chair, little girl. Come wreck it with your paws. Okay, I have gotten some requests for this from when my first video ever was kind of like a childhood stories or weird, why I was a weird kid video. And I mentioned one story, the story, and people wanted to hear about this. And now, like 8 months later, I'm gonna do it. But first, we're gonna get into some other ones. I have so many fucking weird stories from, not even when I was a kid, from like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm 17, if you guys didn't know that. And so let's just go through a run through these things. These are all things like going in and out of my body. It sounds so fucked up. Just weird shit that I did to myself mostly. So let's get started. The first is the deer eye story, which is pretty self-explanatory, maybe. If you guys don't know, I live in rural Minnesota, and there's a lot of hunting that goes on. And when I was little, like 3 or 4, my grandparents were visiting, and I had gotten a deer antler from my mom's garage, from the workshop she has. And I thought it was so cool, and I was running around the house with it, and I started jumping on my bed, like, hey, look at me, look what I got. Because my grandparents never visit, they're really old. They've only been to my house like twice, and I was super excited. And so I was jumping on the bed with this deer antler, and then suddenly I fall, and the deer horn, like one of the prongs of it, goes directly into my eye. It was so gross. I had like, oh my god, I had blood just gushing out of my eye, and we put a washcloth on it, and that's like, a lot of this story is from what I've heard my mom telling me about this, but I remember this so clearly, just the green washcloth against my eye as it was bleeding. It was just, ugh. And I didn't go to the hospital. I think it's just stopped bleeding after a while, and it was kind of snowing out, and so my mom was just like, you know, fuck it, she's fine. So, I mean, I have really shitty vision in my right eye particularly, but I don't know if that's related or not. Who knows? Never know. Number 2 is the time I took off my own braces. So I wanted braces so bad because I had really fucked up teeth. I still kind of do now, which this story explains. And I didn't get them until I was 11. And I was so mad because there were people that were already done with their braces in my grade, but I finally got them, and I was so excited, and then I got them on, and I fucking hated them. They hurt so much, like, and they would do the tightening and the wires. I never wore my rubber bands once. I was supposed to wear them, never did, and you're supposed to clean between them. Like, I just didn't take care of them, and which is probably why towards the end I had them for about 1.5 years. I would always get these wires that would stick out and stab me in the tongue or like on my cheek, and it would be really deep too. Those things are sharp. And so one time I was just like, fuck it, I can't deal with this anymore. And I grabbed some pliers from my stepdad's shop, and at first I wasn't going to take my braces off. That wasn't my plan. I was frustrated, but I was just going to like take off that part that was sticking out. It was maybe like this big. And I tried doing that, and then like half of the bottom row came off. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm in trouble. What am I gonna do now? And I was like, okay, well, it's all one row. If they're gonna have to take the whole thing off if I get them put back on anyway. So I just took the whole thing off. I'm so surprised I didn't like pull my own tooth out or something. And then I did it with the top row, and I didn't have any more braces. And my mom found out and she was really mad. I did this in my bathroom, by the way, and she took me to the orthodontist, and it wasn't like, after you get your braces off, it's not just like, oh, your teeth are normal after that. There's like this glue, clear glue, that is stuck to your teeth, and it feels like chalk. And so it just feels like you have chalk all over your teeth, and it's so bumpy and weird. And so I went to the dentist, and the orthodontist, and he looked at me and was like, so you took off your braces, right? And I was like, yep. And he was just like, well, I'm not gonna put them back on because I think you're gonna take them off again. And I was like, okay. He was just like, okay, here's a retainer, you're done, bye. And I never had braces again. But my teeth were straight, but pretty much. But of course, I didn't wear my retainer all that much, so my teeth are mostly straight, except for this one right here. But I would say it was pretty successful. So yeah, kids, you can take off your own braces. It's physically possible. I remember I saw this stupid fucking Tumblr post like years ago, and it was like, what if you were in the zombie apocalypse and like you had braces on and you had no one to take off your braces and you just lived the rest of your life with braces and you're on like a quest to find an orthodontist to take your braces off. Like, excuse me? Like, all you need is a pair of pliers. Do people really think that braces are like some like thing that just never comes off unless you have like a license? Okay, I'm not gonna get into this because I feel like I'm promoting taking your own braces off, and I'm not. I'm just saying, if I was in a zombie apocalypse and I had braces, I would do the same thing I did when I was 13. I'm sorry. I'm in like a ranty mood. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Okay, and then this third one is very similar. It is about the time I pierced my own septum. I think this was the same year. I was about 13. 13 is an edgy time. But yeah, I wanted my septum pierced so bad. I wanted it since I was like 9 years old. I just thought it was so gorgeous, and like all of the cool girls on Instagram had them, and Tumblr and stuff, and I just thought it looked so nice. And my mom said, no, I can't have any piercings till I'm 18. Like, she barely let me stretch my ears. I think my ears were stretched at that point. And she just was like, no. And my little dummy self was just like, okay, I'm gonna order a kit online and I'm gonna do it myself. And so I had an eBay gift card that my brother had given me for my birthday. And so I used what was left of that to buy like a $3 kit off eBay. And I bought it, and then it arrived, and I was like, okay, let's do this. I'm a fucking doctor now. And I thought I was so fancy. I put on gloves, and I just sat on my bedroom floor, and I put on the clamp, and it came with a piercing, and I put the piercing in the end of the hollow needle, and I just fucking jammed it through my septum. And it worked. It bled like a lot, but I was surprised. I was expecting it to hurt, and I didn't feel anything. That was a nice plastic clamp. Like, it worked pretty good. I didn't feel anything. The piercing was in. I thought I did a good job. I went to my bathroom to check it out, and I thought I looked so good. I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. I can't wait to show my friends at school tomorrow. And my plan, it was the kind that had the 2 balls at the end, and then you can just flip it up. So I was like, I'm gonna flip it up, and then my mom won't even know, and then at school I'll flip it down and everyone can see my cool piercing. And then, so I'm thinking that, and then I completely forget that I have it after a while, and I walk out of the bathroom, and immediately my sister looks at me and she's like, is that real? And I was like, no. And she's like, yeah, it is. Mom! And my mom immediately found out. I had it for about 45 minutes or an hour, and she made me take it out. She was like, I don't remember what she threatened me with, but like, it was a big deal. Like I couldn't go somewhere or something. I think she said I couldn't go to school. Like, you can't go to school like that. You're never going to school again until you take that out. And I was just like, okay. And I just I took it out, and it closed up immediately. But I learned 2 things from that. 1, the pain isn't that bad, and 2, I look good in it. So I'm not gonna say I regret it, but I definitely do not condone doing it yourself. I still am, I still want it. I'm still planning on getting a septum piercing in a few months on my 18th birthday, so. It worked out for me, but I could have gotten like a really bad infection. I could have fucking died, dude. So I wouldn't recommend, but yeah, don't pierce your own septum or else your mom's gonna yell at you and you're gonna die. Okay, and on to the last story, the Tour de France.
The Tour de France.
Of childhood stories. The condom story. This is what I tell everyone when I meet someone new, or like I just need a conversation starter or something, or they're talking about weird stuff they did when they were a kid. I'm just like, okay. So this was 1st grade. I remember this vividly because how guilty and awful I felt for years, and because of the teacher I had. She was a mother of a girl that's still in my grade. And I was on the playground with my best friend at the time. We were running around and she found a really cool ring. It was one of those, it was like a choker necklace, but it was a ring. And I thought it was so cool. And then I was so excited because I looked down at the snow. It was like the middle of winter. And I found one of those balloons that like clowns use, you know, to make dogs and stuff. And it was just the coolest thing ever. It was like wet and it had some like white liquid in the bottom of it, and so I was just like, oh, that's melted snow. And so I walked around all day with that, showing it off and stuff, and then at the end of the day I had to wait for my sister to pick me up because she had play practice after and I would watch her. She was a senior. And so I was waiting by the office at the elementary, and my friend's sister, who was in 2nd grade, she blew it up for me. She was like, oh, that's a really cool balloon. She blew it up with her mouth and tied it for me because neither of us knew how to tie balloons. And so I was really happy. I had a balloon, a clown balloon. Maybe I could find a clown who knew how to make a dog out of it. I don't know. I was really, really happy about it. And so I went and I put it in my backpack, and then me and my sister, we went to her play practice, and then I took it out while she was practicing and showed all of her friends. And they seemed to be really into it. They laughed. They thought it was funny. They pointed at me. And then my sister saw and yelled. She just took it away from me. And she was like, where did you get this? What is that? And I was so upset. I started crying. I didn't know what it was. Like, it took me years to figure it out. No one told me it was a used condom. And oh my god. Like, so many things went through my head in the years after that, because even though, like, they had to call the school and ask about it, and then I had to do, like, an investigation from my 1st grade teacher, where I got it, what I thought it was, like, all of that stuff, and then they never told me. So I was just like, what is so bad about clown balloons? Are only clowns allowed to have them? And it just fucked me up, fam. I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it now. I get why kids are afraid of clowns, was my thought process. And then I didn't realize until a few years later that it was indeed a condom. So yeah, kids, that is all the stories I have for today. I hope you like this kind of sit-down video with my invisible chair, and that this was entertaining. I am planning on doing some more thrifting and fashion-related videos soon. I just kind of wanted to get this out of the way because I've been meaning to do it for a while. So remember, kids, don't jump on the bed with an antler. Don't take off your own braces with pliers. Don't be like me and pierce your own septum. And don't take a used condom off of playground equipment. So, some words of advice for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.